Hi guys! I have made the massive decision to go to university. I think I briefly mentioned it in a previous video. I kind of hinted at it, but here is the official. I am going to university as a mature student. I am very excited. It's been a really sudden decision. It wasn't something that was planned for very long. I have wanted to go to university for a long time. I never went after I left school because I didn't know what subject I was interested in. It's taken a long time. I've looked at so many courses over the years. I've looked at like fine art photography, I've looked at architecture, classical studies, history, so many things I've looked at, but I think it will come as no surprise that I have chosen to do a literature degree. I'm starting with a foundation degree, which is a general humanities foundation year. So I get to sort of explore a multitude of topics. I'm currently set to start the literature degree at the end, but I'm thinking that I might change it to literature with philosophy. But I'm really looking forward to this first year and exploring some concepts, exploring different modules that may take me in different directions. So as I say, I am going to university as a mature student. I turned 30 this month, so potentially you could say that this is a bit of a midlife crisis for me. I don't think I've talked about it very much on this channel, but just to explain, so as I say, I didn't go to university after school. I went straight into work. I worked in London for 10 years. I studied there, so I did a professional qualification for my work. I worked my way up. I did secondments there. I had my kids, and then realised last year that I was very unhappy because I didn't care about the subject matter that I was working in. It earned me very good money, but I just was so unhappy. So I made the decision to leave, and I spent the last year working on various freelance projects. It was very scattered. It was, scattered, varied. It was great to try out so many different things, to come up with different projects that I was working on. And it's really given me an idea for what I actually care about. But ultimately, I don't think freelance work is the way that I want to go. I don't like working on my own. I don't like working from home alone all the time. I like to be around people. So that's what I missed about being in an office. And then I also hate self-promotion. I hate selling myself. I love doing YouTube. I love going and giving talks like at the photography show like I did the other weekend. But I just hate trying to sell myself. So I don't think it will ever really work for me because I really, really hate it. I would rather work on these things as hobbies, like going to give talks and stuff. I would rather do that because I'm passionate about it than because I feel I need to do that to make money. If that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. So yeah, this summer I've been looking at potentially going back into employment and, you know, what the options are, because obviously we've all got to make money, we've all got to pay our bills, I've got to feed my children, etc. And I never thought university would be something that would be possible in that. But out of sort of desperation, I reached out to the mature student advisor at UEA, which is my nearest university, the University of East Anglia. Luckily, it's a very good university, just to get some advice, just to see if she might be able to help point me in the direction of things that might help me with the practicalities of it. And she was so helpful. Honestly, if you're thinking about doing this, see if the university that you're interested in has a mature student advisor, because she was brilliant. I ended up going in and talking to her and the course director. They told me that the course I wanted to do was actually on clearing, which I didn't know. I thought I was going to be looking at doing it next year. Yeah, and they just helped me work out how we were going to work it around me needing to keep like a 1 day a week part-time job, around me needing to be the one to pick the kids up from nursery, the financial implications. They were just so helpful. So if you're thinking about it, I would highly recommend reaching out to someone and asking questions. I think everyone thinks of the Open University first, and I did look at that. That was the one that I thought would be the only one possible. And I happened to look at UEA simply to compare the two literature degrees to see which one I liked the sound of better, whether I thought the Open University version was going to be worth the money compared to a standard university. And whilst I do think it's a brilliant thing, the Open University, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, the UEA one just sounded so interesting, so much more varied, that I was like, no, I really want to do this one. So that's why, luckily, I just wanted to compare and ended up choosing the UEA one. Foundation year, so let me just explain that a little bit. So I'm going to be doing some periodic updates on university, and that's the plan on here. I want to update you on what I'm learning, what the course has been like. If you're interested in photography, I'm going to try and document some of my photographs that I'm going to take around the campus over on my other channel, Analog Holly, which is my analog and darkroom channel, if you're interested. But over here I am going to be doing some more about the course. So the foundation year is a general humanities foundation year. We start with 3 very sort of introductory modules, or 2 very introductory modules. So the first one is just called Humanities, Techniques and Methods, which is really mostly about looking at how humanities students learn at degree level. So the sorts of academic texts and how we do research, how we compare different sources, how we write essays, how we utilise academic texts, how we reference, all those skills that are needed when you're learning a humanities-based subject. So it doesn't matter which one you're going into, this is relevant across the board. So on my course there are people who are going into history degrees, straight philosophy degrees, there's something called intercultural communications, politics, art history. I think that's all I've seen. But yeah, and of course the literature degrees, which I'm going down the route of. So it's relevant to all of those because it's generally about how you think critically about the text that you're reading, how you analyse it, so deconstructing texts based on different sources, like lots of things like that. The other sort of general one is just called Key Concepts, and it's just sort of delving into a broad range of subjects. So for the first 4 weeks, we're supposed to be studying universities in general, and I thought this was really hilarious that the first thing we do is learn what a university is for. There's even a book that we're reading by Stefan Collini called What Are Universities For? I thought that was hilarious, but actually it's really interesting because it's looking at what position universities have in society, what good they do, how it's changed over history from being sort of a place of, say, pure learning to something that's actually quite governed by policy and how the government finance it, the value that government put on different types of courses. So whether you're going into, say, a vocational course or whether you're going into something like the humanities, which is more broad. Yeah, and so it's actually been really interesting so far. I'm only a week in, so, I will update you later as we move through it. So this first sort of 4 weeks is looking at the humanities in general and universities and their place in society, how it's changing, like why the humanities are important, what would happen if we didn't have that as a subject matter, that sort of thing. And of course the idea of knowledge for pleasure, because that's basically why we do it. We do it because we enjoy learning it. The third module that I'm doing this semester is Creative and Cultural Industries, which looks at the sorts of industries that are, publishing, content creation, media, journalism. Yeah, there's so many, but it's looking at how, again, like what I've read so far as sort of pre-reading and working up to this first couple of weeks is about how it's changed over history. So it went from being an industry that was very much secondary to the economy, and then through the 80s into the 2000s, the turn of the millennium, and it's become very much a primary industry in terms of the money it generates for the economy. So there's, that historical aspect, there's the political aspect, and of course we'll be looking at the importance of those sorts of industries. As we move into the second semester, we start to slightly specialise a bit more. So we'll have the second half of the Key Concepts module, in which we'll be looking at things like the ways in which, say, modern day contexts have changed certain things. So feminism, multiculturalism, globalism, things like that, and how they've impacted things. And then in more specialised modules, I'm going to be doing the literature module, and then I'm also planning on doing the philosophy one, although that could change. I've got to choose that next month. The philosophy one is political philosophy, so looking at things like Marxism, feminism, ecologism. But anyway, that's next semester, that's after Christmas. So at the moment it's very much introductory, but even this introductory phase is looking to be really interesting. I'm really enjoying it. It's quite interesting thinking about the university's place in society. and this idea of like the ivory tower of knowledge, and how cut off from reality universities can be versus how much good they can do. Like, yeah, I'm just really interested in it so far. I'm going to be that really annoying person in the class that's done like tons of extra reading because I'm just desperate. The amazing thing about universities now is that most of the books and the readings that you need to do can all be accessed online, so you really don't need to buy anything unless you want to annotate it. I have, though, got a few of the books. I asked for some for my birthday because there are some that I really wanted, and this is the thing, I knew this was the right course for me because these first 2 books I'm going to show you were already on my wish list. I just hadn't bought them, and the first one is Cultural Theory and Popular Culture, an introduction, and then The Reader as well, which is more essay based. So I've got these 2. Again, you don't need them, you can just use the library, the online library that we have to get them, but because these were already on my wish list and I'm already really interested in the subject matter, I thought I'm going to ask for them, and so I've got those 2. And then some smaller ones. So 2 introductory ones. We've got the very short introduction to critical theory and a very short introduction to literary theory. Again, 2 subject matters that I'm really interested in, and I just wanted to have my own copy because I think that these are going to be something that I refer back to a lot, and it would be just really useful to have my own copies. And then the other one I got was Mythologies by Roland Barthes. I was really intrigued to find out that Roland Barthes was someone that we studied for this course because I already have his Camera Lucida and a collection of essays written by people who are responding to Camera Lucida from sort of a current day perspective, their thoughts on certain things that he says in it. So when I saw that Barthes was someone that we would be studying, I decided that the book that was on the reading list I would ask for my birthday because I'm already really interested in him. So yeah, so those are for this first sort of semester, and then I'll probably add some more for next semester's modules. But I am so excited, and yeah, like if you've done being a mature student, if you've done a literature degree, chat with me in the comments, tell me about it, tell me what you thought. I am just beyond excited for this new adventure in my life. And yeah, I'll keep you updated.